Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 179. It's October the 27th, 2013. I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
And we're going to go over some items that we've gone over before, but you guys have never seen. It was related to our tech difficulties last week. So,
we have like 3 weeks worth of stuff. It's so much stuff.
So if we skip over anything, just ask us in the thread. We'll be happy to answer any questions of any information.
And that thread is on Ravelry.
Yeah, we do most of our interaction on Ravelry just because it makes it easy and transparent and everything. So, did we introduce ourselves?
We did. Would you like to go first for works in progress, or would you like me?
Sure, I'll go ahead and go. So I have 3 works in progress. Well, more than that, but 3 things I'm working on. I'm working on a pair of socks out of fishnets, and I'll show you. This is not the color. I don't think I have the tag with me of the actual color. Anyway, it's fishnets. Strong Heart is the base, and it's her intentional flash coloring. This is another skein of it that I got. This is the Harlequin colorway, if anybody wants to know. And this is the Pretty Bird colorway. So I finished sock 1, and I used a Fish Lips Kiss heel, so you can see this light pucker there.
It's so apropos with the name of the yarn.
I know, right? And the little pucker is not visible when you're wearing it. It's just there when you're not. And so I finished these.
Oh, you finished the first one. See,
yes,
I'm on like delayed.
And so this intentional flashing is how you see it pooling around in like a big fat stripe, sort of. So that's sock number 1.
Got a lot of knitting done.
On my SSK 2013 blocker. And then I went ahead and cast on for the second one, and that's as far as I've gotten.
But still, that's since, when did we record? Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I cast it on maybe Tuesday night or Wednesday night, I don't know.
That's some good progress.
And the second thing I'm working on is a modified version of Shawl That Jazz, which is a big sort of half circle shaped garter stitch shawl. It's written for a DK weight yarn, and I actually modified it to use a fingering weight yarn. And this is Dragonfly Fibers Pixie in the Starry Night colorway. And it's so single ply yarn, so it's kind of like Tosh Merino light. And I'm using US size 6s. And the goal is to use 3 skeins, so it'll be just huge and really comfortable. And I'm like a third of the way through the second ball, so I've still got quite a ways to go.
You're making good progress on that, too.
I am. I cast this on right before Rhinebeck, so this is the only thing I brought with me to Rhinebeck to knit on, and then I knit on it exclusively for a while when I got back, too. So.
And you wound that ball so well.
Yeah, this is hand wound around a spatula that I used as a Nosta pin because we were in the cabin in the woods, and I was impatient and didn't want to ask Melissa to borrow her Wander and Swift. I was comfortable where I was, so
there you go.
I sat and watched Duck Dynasty and wound.
Sounds like the perfect night to me.
It was. It's nice. And then last night I cast on something new. So when we were at Rhinebeck on Sunday, my friend Amy Beth, the fat squirrel, had knit this sweater, Miranda. And so it's sleeveless, and it's got a hood, and it's got little pockets in the front.
Is it sleeveless, or does it have like cap sleeves?
Well, you do raglan shaping until you separate, and then that's it. It has the option for long sleeves if you want it, but I chose not to. Anyway, it's got this like pocket in the front. Let me see if there's a better picture of that. Yeah, here we go. Which I was a little antsy of because that's a large part of my body, is my stomach area.
That's so a cute little area. That's cute. I like the detail on that, on the front panel.
She was wearing it on Sunday, and I was like, oh God, I love that. It looked awesome on her.
What did Amy Beth knit it out of?
I don't know. Probably Peace Fleece or Beaver Slide Dry Goods, one of the two. That's my guess, because she uses those frequently, but it may not have been. I don't know. But anyway, I decided I wanted to be cool like Amy Beth, and I cast it on, and it's living in one of my Seashore Sharon bags.
Cute.
Who I got to see briefly at Rhinebeck too, which was sweet.
When I come up for Christmas, we all should get together.
She would love that, and so would I.
I think that would be fun.
I can feel free to speak for her. So for this, I'm using some stash that is such a deep, deep dive. It actually is Mama Linneman's old stash that she destashed to me. It's John Q's
I have a
Nature
sweater
Touch.
started out of that.
And I don't, it's a New Zealand wool. It doesn't say what kind of wool. It just says wool.
So that was for my mother in like 98 or 99 won from Vogue magazine a trip to New Zealand and Australia.
And it was a cruise, right? Or something? Or
no,
did she win a
it
cruise?
was a trip. It wasn't a cruise. So it was like a 10-day trip to New Zealand and Australia that she won. Like her name was in the little magazine as the grand prize winner. It was very exciting. And she went, and I think she had to ship back like a lot of yarn.
It's just what she showed me from that trip. I mean, I have to assume that some of it has dwindled down over the years.
I would think so.
There's no way it could have come home in a suitcase. There's no way. But she had several colors of this. I know she gave Beck some, and Laura some, and me some. And it's an Aran weight, which is what this calls for, I think. And so I wound the first ball, and it's almost gone. And there's like 400 and something yards in each one of these, and I have 3. I've got the rest of them right here. So this is what it looks like in the skein. And it does shed quite a bit as you're knitting with it. I think it was milled and then maybe not washed after or something is my guess. It's just all the little loose, dusty bits haven't come out yet.
It's also been in her stash since 1999.
Yeah. So, anyhow, I cast it on, and I was working feverishly to try to get to the sleeve separation, because like Laura likes to set goals for herself, and I was like, man, I hope I can get the sleeve separated before we record. So I watched the Netflix show Derek, which has Ricky Gervais as playing an autistic man. He does a really good job, and it doesn't like make fun of him. He's just portrays him well.
Cool.
I watched that whole series. It's like 6 episodes. It wasn't much.
Gotcha.
So this is what it looks like so far.
Wow, I like that. I might rip out what I was doing.
And it's very simple. The only thing is this one has a lot of at the same times. So while you're doing this, at the same time do this. So I just had to write out a line by line, do this on this row and this on this row, because that's what made sense to me. So I just separated for the sleeves like a row ago. And it's going pretty quick, obviously, because it's Aran weight. I'm using size 9s. I'm using my Addy clicks, which I like quite a lot. So I'm happy with this. The idea is that I'll wear a long sleeve shirt under this, so it won't truly be next to the skin.
It's not a good next to the skin wool, I would say.
It is a little rough. It may soften a little bit with the wash. I didn't swatch because it's just going to be something I pull over a long sleeve shirt, so it doesn't need to be fitted real well. And if it's too
famous last words right there.
If it's too big, it's too big. I really don't think it will be though.
Have you tried it on yet?
No, because I just separated for the sleeves. But I am going to put it on after and check it out. But I have been checking gauge as I've gone, and I've been on. So, and it'll grow just a little bit, I expect, when you wash it. So we'll see. If it comes out to be horrible, I'll give it away. I've done that before. So.
I was just looking to see what needle size I used on my sweater that I'm knitting out of that, and I have been since, it doesn't say, I love it when I don't put things. Project was created on March 6, 2011. Oh. So, is Washington Square by Kirsten Kapoor, and why I have not finished it is because I messed up on the sleeves. So I have the sweater done to the armpits, and then you knit the sleeves. And I actually started that like the day it came out, the pattern came out, but I did my increases differently on each sleeve, so I need to rip those sleeves out and reknit them, which is fine. I could totally do that. So it's just one of those things that I have to, it's sitting in a tote bag.
Yep.
I just got to get to it. Maybe I'll pick that up next week. Well, not next week because I got a lot of stuff to get done.
That's all of my works in progress, and I do have an FO. Those Croy socks I was working on are finished, but they've already been given away, so I don't have them to show you. So it's all you for a while.
It's all me for a while. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll start with what I am currently knitting on, and that is the start of a hat. Whoosh, that was very close. That color is not very accurate. It's a very deep blue aqua, and it is being knit on size 6 needle, 16-inch Addies. And I just started it. It uses Wonderful Woolly, which is from Green Mountain Spinnery. It is a yarn that I picked up at last year's Rhinebeck. And it is a 2-ply of wool from Maine. So American wool made in Maine. Yeah, New England, I'm sorry, not Maine. It's definitely more of an outerwear wool, for sure, but I wanted to use it for this because A, I want to use up Rhinebeck's stash, because I think that's a good goal, but also it's more of a woolen spun. It reminds me of Brooklyn Tweed a little bit, his worsted weight yarn, and I'm doing a hat with cables that I'm making up, so I'm just playing with the woolen aspects with cables for stitch definition. So, and this is actually the 4th time I've cast it on. I keep changing both the yarn and the needle size, but I think I got the perfect fit with this. So,
cool.
We'll see. It's when, like, swatching for me on hats is casting on the hat. Yeah. So
you might as well.
But the pattern's been written. I'm just tweaking it, and it's all charted and everything already. So that's the first thing I've been working on. And actually, I just have been working on that mainly today. The second thing I was working on are the socks that I started when we recorded last week.
They were just a little
which was Thursday.
Toe. Yeah.
They're this far, and why they're this far is Friday I got to take my kids on a field trip. So on the bus to and from, I got to knit on these a little bit, but I sadly forgot my knitting at home. So Wheezy, my father, I texted him at 8 o'clock because he was supposed to go past my school because on Fridays he works on motorcycles, and I asked him to stop by and get my knitting and bring it to me, and he did.
Did he pack it in his little saddle bag?
He actually, it did not have a bag with it because it was sitting up here, and he picked out an Amy Beth bag to put it in. I was like, I don't care, taste. You don't have to put it in a bag, and he was like, I'm going to put it in a bag. I'm going to pick out one of your bags and put it in. So, this is Yarntini yarn. It's her sport weight. The color weight is Home, and it is being knit on size 2 needles, and these are carbons. And the metric on those are 2.75, and it's being knit obviously from the toe up. I have put in for an afterthought heel. So I don't.
For you?
I think so. I haven't really decided yet. Yes, they're for someone with a size 10 foot.
No. Okay.
Either for me or for my grandmother. It might be for my grandmother. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to do probably 2 more stripe sequences and bind off. I might do the heel in a contrast color. It just depends on how much of this I have.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little worried. I think it was only around 300 yards. So. And then last but not least, Mel of Single Handed Knits and I are doing a little mini knit along. And we are knitting the Maine Morning Mitts by Clara Parks from the Knitter's Book of Yarn. And I am knitting, we're both knitting ours out of hand spun. Mine is out of hand spun that I spun. It's Cupcake Bats from Hobbledehoy.
Yep.
And I spun this at Leslie's over the summer. And Mel's yarn that she's using, her hand spun, was actually spun by Leslie.
Yep, it was a gift that Laura and I both gave her hand spun when we met her last December. And
yep.
I guess mine fit the knit along better for this particular thing because it was thicker.
Oh, yeah, she wanted to use yours first, so.
Oh, I was trying to be impartial and assumed that it was just a gauge thing.
No, I don't know. Anyway, I don't think it mattered one way or another. So I finished the first, and this is what it looks like on. And they're nice stretchy mitt patterns. And I was very happy. I had mitts on when we went to Elmwood, which is a cemetery in Memphis that has a soldier from every single American war buried in it, including Revolutionary War, which I was like, huh? Because the cemetery wasn't created until the 1860s, but I guess people dug up their relatives and brought them with them, which is interesting. Didn't even think that bodies were mobile, but apparently they were. But anyway, these are, it's really, if you're in Memphis and you're into history, it's a very
great
cool
tour to take. Yeah.
place. There's Tuskegee Airmen buried next to Civil War spies, not next to each other, but like on the same acre. There's a former mayor of Memphis buried there who hated pigeons so much that in his stipulation to Elmwood, it says that like pigeons cannot stay on his coffin, like on his monument.
Tombstone, yeah.
It's a monument. It looks like the Washington Monument. And that it had to be cleared of all bird stuff, and his daughter actually married someone with the last name of Pigeon. So on the family plot, like the one half side, all the actual little markers are the last name Pigeon. So he's surrounded by pigeons. It's really funny. That was like the best story. I thought it was hilarious. But it's a really, really neat cemetery. In fact, I think I might do a photo shoot there for, I think that's where I'm going to do the photo shoot for Walking in Memphis, actually.
But anyway, do that while I'm down there.
Yeah.
So I can follow you around the cemetery and take pictures of you.
It's not creepy at all. But they do some cool, like, Halloween stuff, and it's a really interesting place in Memphis. And anytime a person comes to be buried, they ring the bell. There's a bridge that's the bridge between living and death, is what they call it. And like during the yellow fever outbreak, which was really bad in Memphis, they were ringing that bell 50 to 75 times a day. So anyway,
chipper news.
Well, I'm just like, I don't know much Memphis history, like, because I grew up in Pennsylvania. It wasn't, Mississippi and Tennessee history was not like emphasized. We learned Pennsylvania history. Like, I am down on the Whiskey Rebellion. But other stuff not so well. Anyway, main morning mitts. First one's done. Second one will probably be done by the end of the week. So it's just about to start. It's a little bit further, and then it's gusset for the thumb, because these do have gussets, which I love. So I'm excited. I need more hand spun in my life, as in knitting of hand spun, because it's so squishy and fun. And that's it for me. Oh, those are being knit on size 7 GPNs. And it's in my seashore sharing bag.
Lots of seashore sharing love.
Yep. Always.
For those that don't know, she is just a private, like, she doesn't have a shop.
She's a friend.
She's just a friend who sews bags, and that's all she has a desire to do, so don't bother her.
No.
So finished objects, though. You have some finished objects.
I do have 2 finished objects. I totally forgot about that. So the first one is the Tea-Toter pattern by the Simply Notable blog. If you're looking for cute little like gift card holders or these little pine cones that go over corks, like little holiday presents, the Simply Notable blog has some really cute small patterns. And one of them is a tea bag cozy holder. So when you open it, and this is out of my hand spun, there's a little tea bag inside, so your tea bag doesn't get messed up. And Irish breakfast is my favorite. So that's what's in there. And it's also keeping track of a button for me, because that's an extra button for a sweater. And if I have it there, then I'll remember where it is and it won't get lost in the big bin of buttons. That's
so the tea-toter is not a present, it is for you.
I think it's for me. I think it'll go in my bag. That's actually the second one of those I've made. They're just little quick fun afternoon projects. And you could include them with a box of tea and maybe a cool mug or a cool teapot. And that would be fun. The other thing that I finished are Leslie's socks. These were done, and now I can send them to her.
Yay! Just hang on to them. I'll be there soon.
No, you have no idea how much stuff I have for you.
No.
These are done out of Knitter's Nightmare yarn in the Batty sock base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. And it is in the Welcoming Worm colorway, which is lots of fun. And they look like that.
And that's a Labyrinth reference.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
So those are done, and that's it for finished objects for me. We do have a ton of spinning because one of the things that we spun for in the past 3 weeks was Spinzilla, which was a competition, for those of you who might be new to the podcast, where TNNA joined up with, what was the other group? It was TNNA sponsored.
The Craft Council of America or something?
Maybe. And they did a contest to see of teams of 25 spinners who could spin the most single yardage in the course of a week. And our team came in second. Yay! Yes. And we spun, what was it, over 80,000 yards.
Yeah, it was like 82,000 something. And the team that won was Team Fancy Tiger,
which is a yarn shop in Denver.
And they spun 94,000 or something.
So congratulations to them.
And congratulations to our people. We are very happy about how much you guys were able to put out.
And how much chatter there was, and just an overall fun time. I had a good time with it. And it really proved to me, I had no idea that I would spin as much as I did. So
you and everybody, y'all blew me away. Because I spun more than I thought I would, and I didn't spend half what you spun. So it's just, I was amazed. I'll go through
people.
I'll go through my stuff pretty quickly because I don't have a lot.
I think that's very relative.
So I have 6 skeins. It was a total of 2,500 and something yards. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on any one of them, but if you have any questions, feel free to post them on the Ravelry group or PM me. This was Mash'em from Into the World. I do not remember the colorway name. It is a 2-ply. And it is 190 yards of a 2-ply. This was Romney from Into the World, and it's much thicker, much bigger, and plumper.
Is that the Inaria colorway?
It is the Inara colorway, and I got 98 yards of a 2-ply, and this is super thick, so this would probably qualify for super bulky.
I think that'd be a fun hat.
I think it would too. This is Wool Gatherings, and this was actually thin. And I haven't washed it yet, but I think it's going to plump up quite a lot. And I got 104 yards of a 2-ply out of this. And you can see that my thought was, if I spin really thick and fast, I can spin more. But I don't think that really was the way to go.
I don't know. It's hard to tell. It really is.
Well, I got almost half my yardage from spinning thin on something, so.
Yeah.
This was Into the World, Corradale, and in a word I can't pronounce, but it looks like Rhinebeck to me. And this was 154 yards of a 2-ply. This is probably a bulky. It hasn't. None of these have been washed yet. This was one of the first things that I spun, and it's Romney, and it was roving, real roving, not top. And I was able to long draw on this really well, which made me happy. And I got, from 4 ounces, I got 260 yards of a 2-ply. But I did spin a long draw, so it's really woolen and airy, so I can compress it down really far because it's got so much air in it. And when it's unwound, it's big as my head. Like, it's huge. And it's very sheepy. It's still got quite a lot of lanolin in it, but it was a lot of fun to spin. And I've got another 4 ounces of this.
Cool.
And the last thing was a loop bat, and this is Earth Goddess.
I love that colorway.
And this is a single, and I'm going to full it so that it can stay as a single. And I got 954 yards of a single ply, and it's got a fair amount of sparkle in it. So it just needs to be fulled so that I can then put it into a cake and do something cool with it. So this is where almost half my yardage comes from, is this one skein.
Well, I think but I'm sure that one skein took you a lot more time than the other ones. So
2 full days.
I think it's all relative. So I'm going to show the yarns that I spun worsted first, and then I'll show the yarns that I spun woolen second. So on the worsted yarns that I spun, and you spun over a pound in a week. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I did spin over. Well, I probably spun about 2 pounds.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Just I wouldn't
a pound
say that that's not good. I would say that's very, very good. Typically, if I spend a pound a month, I'm happy.
I don't usually spend 4 ounces a month, so.
So everything that I spun that I'm going to show at first, I spun worsted method. So I did a short backward draw. So my front hand was in the front, and I was pulling back with my back hands. And when you do that kind of draw, it's less. If you inchworm or do a short forward draw, which is going this way, you have more of the ability to be consistent.
Be precise.
Yes, whereas the short backward draw is a little bit less consistent. That's just the nature of how it is. So some of these, the grist is a little... It's not as consistent throughout the skein as I typically would like. The first thing I spun was, well, not the first thing I spun, but what's in my hand is a Knitting color bat. This was 4.6 ounces, and I got 336 yards of a 2-ply, and that was using, like I said, a worsted method of spinning, and it had a lot of glitter and sparkle and silk and everything but the kitchen sink really thrown in there, and it was like grape Kool-Aid was the colorway, something like that.
Grape
very,
Ape.
very fun. No, this was Kool-Aid based.
Oh, okay.
Grape Ape, when we were talking before, like 2 times ago when we recorded, the episode didn't take it, was the Yarntini yarn that I had.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so Knitting color. I'm definitely, next time I see her, maybe at SSK, I'm definitely going to get another one of her bats. For sure, because that was lots of fun. The actual first thing that I spun was Fin. This is a natural Fin from Paradise Fibers. I got it kind of on a whim. I was buying something else from them, and I just purchased it at the same time because I had free shipping, and I was like, why not? I'll try their Fin because it was one of our Expand Your Horizons, and the Fin that I spun for Expand Your Horizons was a little bit felted, so I wanted to try Fin again. This is 166 yards of a 2-ply. I spun some Wensleydale. I did this with a very low twist in both the plying and the actual spinning. This is out of Hello Yarn. And like I said, it's a Wensleydale. It is a long wool, so it's got definitely a little halo to it, but also a little shimmer, which is very cool about long wools. And it's 224 yards of a 2-ply. It's not necessarily, I think adding less twist made it a little bit softer, but I would not characterize it as next to skin wear. I think I might weave with this and combine it, maybe do this as the weft and maybe like a merino commercial as the warp, and that'll allow it to be a little bit softer, I would say, in the long run. I also spun a loop bat, but I plied mine. This is a loop Navajo ply. Navajo ply is also known as chain ply or end ply. This is 256 yards of a gradient. It was in the Stargazer colorway, and it was out of 5.3 ounces, and this was spun on the mini spinner, and it's got a lot of shimmer and glitter to it, and I love it. And I think it's going to become a cowl of some kind, or like a big infinity cowl that I can drape around if it's got enough yardage.
I like that idea.
I spun 4 ounces of Dripping Fiber Studio, her Beatles bats, and these were inspired by the Sgt. Pepper's cover. And there are 4. There's an orange, which has 84 yards. And each of these were an ounce. A 56-yard blue, 60-yard of the pink, and then the red, which I think is my favorite, is 70 yards. And I'm going to do a color work project with these, I think.
Did you spin them all and then ply them on themselves?
Yes, I spun them all on Alendrum Woolly Winder bobbin separately, and then put them into a center pole cake and plied them back that way.
Okay.
A lot of stuff. Actually, the Knitting color bat, I did it as because I was running out of bobbins, I did it as a single onto one bobbin and then put in a cake and plied from the inside and the outside of the cake, and it was fine with 1 ounce. For 4.6 ounces or 4.3, whatever that was, never again. I kept getting like yarn barf. I was So one of the Harry Potter House Cup things was doing something that was complicated, and so I used it for that, and I compared myself to a fly stuck in a spider web at some point. So I don't know that they'll accept it, but we'll see. All they can do is say no.
Yeah.
I also spun some llama alpaca blend roving. This is based off of, the colorway is based off of Starry Night. It was around 100 yards of a 2-ply, and someone gifted this to me at Maryland Sheep and Wool this year. So it's a nice little sparkle. I spun 400 yards of a 2-ply. This was a Shetland. I love Shetland. It's not the softest in the world, but I really enjoy spinning it. I will tell you, spinning this and then spinning Wensleydale, I had a groove in my spinning hand. Like, because they're both longer, less smooth fibers, yeah. Yes, I had a groove in my finger. This was a gradient from Corgi Hill, and it was a 5-ounce gradient. And I just really enjoyed spinning it. I need to get more of her stuff, but it goes from the dark blue to the grayish blue to a light blue to the white. So it's really, really pretty. I really like it. I spun Sweet Georgia. I got this at the Loopy U. This is a Superwash BFL. I will not spin Superwash next year, I don't think, for this event, because it is a little bit slippier, and I felt like I couldn't go as fast with it. But this is 316 yards of a 2-ply, and it's really, really pretty. I'm going to get some more of her fiber from the Loopy U. And then, what else is down here? I spun awesome Rainbow Explosion bat from Dawning Dreams. This one was 3 ounces, and I got 94 yards of a Navajo ply. And I did that on purpose, the Navajo ply, because I wanted, like, the colors that were the same to kind of pop. I didn't want it to muddy out.
Yeah.
So I spun back on itself to allow those colors to remain pretty similar to each other. Yeah. So it's blocks of color versus more barber pulley. And then the last that I spun worsted is Fiber Nymph Dyeworks BFL. This is 235 yards of a 2-ply, and it's, when you take out the skein, it's kind of a mess. I need to reskein it. Obviously, it's kind of exploding everywhere. But it is also a gradient. It goes to the blue, to the green, to a yellow. And I'm thinking of a hat for this one, perhaps. Like, I really like the Susan B. Anderson Lost Banner hat. So I might do that out of this. What I spun wool in were some Rolags from Unwind Yarn Company and an Unknown Wool Blend, and I still have 2 bobbins of this that counted towards my single yardage but did not get plied. So the purple's the Unwind Yarn Company, and the gray is the Unknown Wool. And this hasn't been soaked or thwacked yet, but it's very lofty and airy. It's 204 yards of a 2-ply, and I have at least 204 yards still on bobbins. Because I weighed it and I could tell how much I had left. So
the Rolags really lend themselves to woolen spinning.
Oh yeah, and it went super fast. So this is actually only 2 ounces. Less than 2 ounces. This is 2 ounces total. It's 1 ounce of each.
Right.
And then I have 1 ounce of each left. So probably at least another 204 yards. So that's that. And that hasn't been soaked or thwacked. What I still have on the bobbins, I have an Into the World bat that I did not count for Spinzilla. This was spun prior to Spinzilla to try to get stuff off the wheel. And it is the Just Figs colorway. So it goes from a yellow to an orange to a magenta, or yellow, orange, red to the magenta. And it's really, really pretty. I'm going to Navajo ply this. I just haven't had time. I have something else on my wheel right now, so I need to get that off and ply this. So, and then I have a loop bat that I finished downstairs that was on the wheel since July, but I forgot to grab it and bring it up, so y'all will see it finished probably next week, hopefully. I'm going to apply it on the mini spinner, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's really 5.3 ounces, and I fit it onto
I don't know how you did that.
a shocked bobbin, but it's not going to go back onto a shocked bobbin. I can tell you that right now. So I'll fly
If
it on
my
the...
bobbin gets anywhere close to 4 ounces, it just, like, my wheel just stops working. Like, it won't... Or maybe I just can't pack it on as well as you can. I don't know, but...
I was spinning it pretty thin, so I think that made a difference. But I was stopping like every 5 minutes and switching my hooks.
Yeah.
And I switch on both sides, so it fills in completely.
Too. Excuse me,
I
I'm
was
sorry.
being meticulous about that, because I really wanted it all to fit. But yesterday, when I was spinning that last little bit, I was like, why are you not over yet? You've been on my wheel since SSK. I need you to leave.
I think most loop bats get that way at the end. You're like, seriously? There's
You
more?
are the last color. The excitement is gone. Come on now. I swear, most people's loop bats probably at the end are much thicker than they were at the beginning.
Because they just want to be over.
So, we have a book review to do.
We do. And this was sent to us by the lovely folks over at Cooperative Press. If you have seen it before, bear with us. We have reviewed it before. You just haven't seen it because the computer ate it.
But it's a really cool book, and it's very appropriate for it being Halloween week.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And this is Hitch. It's a book that was written by... Hold on, let me get
It was
back to
compiled
the
by
beginning.
Stephanie Talent.
And she also did the California Revival Knits book, so her name might seem familiar because of that. It does have a lovely visual index, and if you click on Alfred Hitchcock's face throughout the book, it'll take you back to the visual index. And if you click on the actual pattern of the visual index, it will take you to the pattern, which it just took me to the Constant Shawl by Anna Dalby, which is the very first shawl. I like, before we get too much into this, I do want to say the photography is meant to be very Hitchcockian.
Very dramatic.
So there's very, you know, it's meant to be in those time periods with that. But there are also, like the shawl is just laid flat on a white background. And it's got that cool lace detail. But there's also a lot of red throughout the book, which Leslie loves.
Yep. What can I say? I like the red.
And this shawl comes in 3 different sizes, a small, medium, large, so 48 blocked wingspan all the way up to 62.25 wingspan, which would be awesome. And it uses a silk single, the Zen Yarn Garden and Serenity Silk Single, which is a merino cashmere silk blend, which would be very, very nice. And it does have some noops in it.
I like the 3-second kiss sweater. And you'll see this as we go through, but they are really sensitive to sizing in this book. So this goes, it's a sport weight sweater that ranges in size from 27.5 inches at the chest to 57.5 inches at the chest. And it's got the nice little pop of color work here and the little V-neck and the same color work on the sleeves. And it's got really nice schematics. And
I like the chart on it as well. You can definitely see a difference between the reds.
Right, with the coloring. Go ahead.
I like the Rio gloves by Stephanie Palmer. And they come in a long cuff version and a short cuff version, a small, medium, large in the sizing. They're done out of Wool Farm Sockenwool or Drachenwool. Like Drachenwool, that's such a great name. But I like the fact that they did them in 2 different color schemes. So there's the one, I feel like that might be the shorter wrist version, and then the longer wrist version. There you go. It's done in opposite colors. So they took the opportunity with 2 different with 2 different lengths to do 2 different colors as well, and I really appreciate that because it gives you more ideas as to what things will look like. And of course they're gray and red, because that's how we roll in this book. It's a great, I love that color scheme.
I like the Windus socks by Rachel Coopy, and they are knit in a fingering weight hedgehog fibers. With the foot circumference varying from 7.5 to 9.5, and they're red, so they're not going to show up super well here. There we go, that's a little bit better. So it's got just enough twisted rib detail to keep your interest, and it goes down on the cuff as well.
Cool. I like those as well. I like the Stella gloves, which are also in 3 sizes, and it actually tells you the ease that you're supposed to use with these gloves, which is really, really cool. They use Hazelnut's artisan socks and a slip stitch pattern. And I can see you doing the individual fingers, but also you can make that one, just continue doing it over and over and over again and do a bigger, kind of like what I'm doing with the Main Morning Mitts, non-individual fingers, just finger covering.
Like a glove, or
but I also
like a mitten versus a glove.
Yeah, I also really like the button details on that. I think are very sweet.
It's very feminine.
I agree.
I like the Exacta hat, which is shown in white. It actually shows the detail quite well, and it's got these varying cable detail across the top. Let me get you to a better picture. There's like 6 different ones you can choose from. Actually, I think there's 8, and you can mix them up as much or as little as you want. There's a picture of some of them, and I just think that's a cool way to do it, to allow all these different little options, and the cables really pop on the reverse stockinette.
I also like the fact that it's gender neutral. That it would work. I mean, just changing the color could make it very girly or very boy-y if you're into color for gender, or you could just do it in white and it would be flattering for both.
Yeah.
I like the Miss Fremont shawl, and I think it would be gorgeous in handspun.
I agree.
It is written by Jayla Spyro, who does the Knit Circus podcast and also does Knit Circus yarns. It comes in 1 size, and the wingspan on that is 56 with a radius of 26, but it uses Blue Sky Alpaca Sport Weight. But what I like about it is it's 3 different colors, but you use a different amount of each. So if you have like 2 ounces of light gray, or 3 ounces of medium gray, and 4 ounces of the dark gray, you can make it work. Or 5 or 6 ounces. So you could definitely buy in increments to make this work. And it's just a little bit of lace. It's not, there's just the lace at the color. Ooh, that's a horrible, my lights are like, hey.
And it looks like it's done at a large enough gauge that it would go pretty quickly as well.
It is knit on, it's 18 stitches to the inch for the gauge. So that's, and it says 7 needles. So you could go pretty quickly on that.
I like the Not Your Gal Friday sweater. This might be my favorite one in the book. This one goes from 32 1/4 in the chest to 60 1/4 in the chest. And it's just got a lot of details that I really like. I like the way they striped the yarn. It is a fingering weight sweater. I like the little feminine button detail here at the neck. I like the ribbing, the length of the ribbing along the midsection, and I like the dolman sleeves that give you a little bit more room and less worry about a perfect fit in that area. And I think the tiny stripes are more flattering on a multitude of figures. So this might actually get knit, even though it's fingering weight. We'll see.
I like the Roby sweater, or Robbie sweater, which is for men.
Yes.
It's based off of a pullover worn by Cary Grant in To Catch a Thief, and I have a huge crush on Cary Grant. But
that one has a lot of cool details in the pattern.
Yeah, it does. It's got it's knit out of a sock weight yarn, so this is going to be a pretty extensive knit. But the chest measurements go from a 34 all the way up to a 52. It tells you how much ease, 2 inches ease. But when you look at this, it's got some really cool inner details on the sleeves
and the neck,
and it goes into how to put a sweater, how to put a zipper into a sweater, which is very useful for Mama Linneman.
Let's see. This one we saw at TNA, and it's definitely,
I love that one.
That's exactly where I was going. It's a very attention grabber. It's the San Juan Bautista shawl by Elizabeth Green Musselman, and it, out of all the different colored things that we happen to see on this table at TNA in the Cooperative Press booth, that combination of colors is very striking, and it's very
it grabbed your attention right from the get-go. The size is adjustable, so you could use less yarn or more yarn because it is...
And it's asymmetrical.
Yeah, it's asymmetrical, and it's worked from the narrow tip and moves diagonally, so you could just keep going
until you are close to being out.
Yeah, until there's 6 feet of color A left, and then you start doing the whatever you do. I don't know, I haven't read that far. And it uses Shabui Knits Staccato, which is a lovely merino silk blend, so it's going to have a little bit of shimmer to it as well. And a fairly large gauge, 14 stitches equals 4 inches, so size 6 needle with a sock weight. So it would be actually a great last minute Christmas gift that looks a lot more difficult than it is.
The last thing that I really love in this book is the Argyle Midge sweater, and it's a sport weight, and it goes in size from 33.5 inches at the bust to 56.75 inches in the bust, and it's just a very easy wearing, comfortable looking sweater. It's got a nice detail of the button and the ribbon at the button band. It's sort of a Henley style top. 3/4 sleeves. It's got a lot of positive ease. It just looks nice and comfortable, and it makes me want to make it. And it shows, you know, the beauty of hand paint and how even within tonal variations in a skein, it can still be very uniform at the end.
I have 2 more that I really like. I really like the Thornhill cowl by Stephanie Talent. And it has arrows going 2 different directions. It's a reversible cowl. So I think that's very, very cool, and it uses sock weight needles, but also if you want a larger circumference, she tells you how to do that. And I also really, really love, I think this might be the first thing I knit out of this book, is the Melanie shawl by Nina Macklin Dayton, and it's knit out of String Theory Caper Sock 2 skeins, so it's a larger shawl, and it's got this gorgeous beading as well as the lace detail and the slip stitch, not slip stitches, but probably twisted stitches is what that looks like, which are just gorgeous. It starts with the garter tab and just works its way down. So the beads are placed by crochet hook down towards the bottom, which is really nice, and it is charted, and there are 5 charts, but it looks like it would move fairly quickly because each chart is only like 11 rows. So that would move fairly fast. I feel like I could do that. I kind of like charted shawls because once I get through the first chart, I'm like, okay, on to the next chart. Like, it's a competition with myself.
It's a nice, like, checkpoint.
Yes, definitely. Other things I really enjoy about this book, there's a filmography section towards the end of the movies that are referenced in the book. And there's also, Cooperative Press does a great job of giving information not only about the yarns they use, but also the designers.
Yep.
And a little bit of a profile and more information about them, which is very, very cool. So, and there's the yarn information as well. This book does retail for $16.95.
For the digital version.
For the digital version, and the hardcover version it looks like it's $29.95. If you do buy the hardcover version, I think it's actually paperback from Cooperative Press, they do give you a code to download the digital version, which is very, very cool of them.
Yes.
And I always appreciate that. So that is Hitch.
And this is Neelix.
Hi,
baby.
He missed you.
Yes. Yeah, I see you. Go find Daddy. Go find Daddy.
So we have, in our Ask Me Anything, which is a new segment that we're going to add in, is a question that was submitted by Muddy Ruth.
Yes, Muddy Ruth on Ravelry.
How would you advise a retreat rookie to prepare for a weekend? What to take to knit, how to prepare for the vendor market, etc. So I think the key to this is to be flexible, but also kind of have a plan in place. So for a retreat, there are certain things that for a knitting retreat, I go in knowing that I want to talk to at least like 4 or 5 people that I've never talked to before. Like, I like to go in thinking I'm going to make a new friend.
Yes.
Like, I go in with that mindset.
Whether they like it or not.
Yes, they will be my friends. They have no choice in the matter.
So, yeah, I mean, you go into it knowing that you already have this huge thing in common, right?
Yeah.
You're willing to spend your hard-earned money to go to this event where people are excited about knitting, of all things. So know that you already have a common interest with every single person in that room.
And I find it, like, when you have that common interest, if you just go up to someone and say, oh, what are you working on? Or, oh, I like that shawl you're wearing. What pattern is it? It immediately starts a conversation that's going to be positive because you're giving them a compliment.
Yeah, so, I also think that it's important to know the weather, right? So check the weather ahead of time and pack accordingly. I have never been to a knitting retreat where anything overly formal has been required. So dress comfortably.
Yes.
If that's stretchy pants and a t-shirt, then dress in stretchy pants and a t-shirt. Nobody cares.
That's very true as well. And that way, if you fill your suitcase with yarn and you don't have room for your clothing, you don't feel bad about mailing them home or not having them get home.
Yeah.
So that's good as well.
Also, know yourself. So some people... the difference, this was told to me a few months ago, and I think it's a great little thing to remember. So the two main sort of types of people are introverts and extroverts. Introverts recharge by being alone, and extroverts recharge by being with other people. And so if you are an introvert, like me, while I have a wonderful time at knitting retreats and SSK, I also need a little bit of time for me to just decompress, just me. And so if that's you, make sure that you count that in there. Make sure that you set an alarm and you take 5 or 10 minutes to just sit quietly by yourself if you need that, because some people do. So know yourself, know your needs. If you have special dietary needs or anything like that, make sure that where you're going can take care of them, or that you prepare for them in whatever way.
I tend to always pack like a granola bar, or Luna bar, and thread it in my bag, or some goldfish.
Right.
For what to knit, back to the question, I take something simple that's easily memorizable, but also easy to fix. So if I drop a stitch because I, am talking to someone and find it 10 rows later, it doesn't hurt my heart to drop down and fix it. So I tend to take stripy socks because for me, I have that pattern memorized, but something like a garter stitch shawl, like the shawl that Jazz that Leslie's working on.
Something you can do without thinking too much about it.
Yeah, like my first year at SSK, I actually took Paula's shawl,
I've knit it several times.
What is the name of it? Paula from the Knitting Pipeline. Piper's Journey.
Thank you.
That's Piper's Journey.
It's garter stitch and it's got an applied border, and what is it?
And once I got to the lace part, I put it in my bag and put it away. How to prepare for the vendor market, you can always I would recommend looking at maps if they're available before, or just looking at those vendors' websites before you go, so you kind of got an idea of prices, but also what you're looking for. I love having screenshots. So what I do is on my phone, or on my iPad, I'll take, and just in case the internet goes down or there's not internet available at a market, I'll take a screenshot of the pattern and then highlight how much yardage I need for it, or even just create a note. So if I'm shopping for something specific and I'm like, did I need 1,200 yards or did I need 1,400 yards? Because that could be the difference between a scan or not. I make sure I have that recorded right there on my phone, so as I'm looking for stuff, I kind of have an idea of what I need. I also budget. Like, I have a budget. I tend to take cash so I don't pull out a credit, because if I put stuff on credit cards, I don't have that,
mental sort of list. Yeah.
Like, I don't reach in. I have it in an envelope, and I reach in, and when I get down to my last $30, that's my last $30, and I know that. I feel like on a credit card, it's really easy to just keep swiping.
Yeah.
And not pay attention. But you might be more responsible than me, and I hope you are.
So I would say also, like, if you're going to a vendor market and there's something that you want to get, make that your first, or one of your first stops. That way, once you've got that pressure off and you've got that fat squirrel bag, or you've got that Miss Babs yarn, or, Into the World, or whatever it is, then you can just relax and enjoy the market. And you'll find, without that stress over your head, you'll find things that you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
Yeah.
And back to what Laura was talking about earlier with making a list of like how much yardage you need for things. I did this for Rhinebeck. I made a little collage of the sweaters that I'm interested in knitting, and I put the how much yardage I need. So like this is Rolling Rock, and I would need, for my size, I would need 1,800 yards, or yeah, 1,800 yards of sport. For this Cushman, I would need 1,300 yards of sport. So I put a collage together of the things that I was interested in making, and then just wrote, you know, what I needed on there.
Yeah.
That way, if I found a yarn I really liked, and I could, you know, very visually see, oh, would it work for that sweater easily. So, and that doesn't depend on internet service or anything like that either, and it's very quick to pull up. So
there you go. So I feel like we've answered that pretty fully. If you have any more questions, you can go ahead and put them in the Ask Me Anything thread, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Yep.
We have some awesome things going on in Ravelry, and one of those awesome things is a Halloween cal. It's a craft along, which I have been enjoying immensely, and I want to come to y'all's house and eat all your cake and cupcakes.
And she will, if she knew where you
lived.
And
wear all your things. Because there are some gorgeous finished objects and some super cute Halloween costumes. Someone did an Izzy hat, which Alice is going as Izzy this year. Izzy is a character from Jake and the Neverland Pirates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she said yo ho ho to me earlier. It was very cute. Because that's what we do. She also told me, I said, swiper, no swiping. And she went, oh man. So Alice is my almost 2-year-old niece. She'll be 2 in December. But there's some great, I've been really, really enjoying that craft along. I've been clicking everyone's love buttons and just having a good time. And we do have some prizes for that. And that is going to end on Thursday.
Yep, the 31st.
So, the 31st. So I did want to remind y'all of that. Prize-wise, so we have some really awesome stuff. So we have from, this was out of my stash. It is Jade Sapphire Exotic Fibers Lacyland. It is an awesome orange colorway. And it is 825 yards of extra fine lamb's wool. Made in China. So there's definitely some great shawl patterns out there. It's a lace weight that you could do with this. Story Publishing was nice enough to send us the Knitter's Life List, which is an awesome book. It has tons of stuff. It retails for $24.95, and it's got 1,001 inspirations, all these awesome interviews with people, all these technique talks. So very, very cool. And in fact, they have a whole section in there about retreats. So, but they have interviews with people like Alice Starmore, and it's just a really, really exciting, interesting book to me. So that will be going to someone. We have an awesome bag from the Knotted Bag.
Diane, yep.
Yep. It is one of her large project bags. It's definitely large enough to hold a sweater, a shawl, or multiple pairs of socks. Let me find her business card. It does have pockets in the inside, which is where I had her business card stuff. So there's 2 pockets. There's one on each side. I like the lining. The lining fabric is pumpkins, which makes me super happy.
Yeah,
it is a knot style bag, so it goes through just like that and keeps everything safe, and you don't have to worry about zippers getting caught in your projects. And you can find Diane and all of her wonderful bags at the Knotted Bag, and she does a podcast which I was interviewed on a couple weeks ago. So very, very cool. Oh, I like her tag. Her shop is etsy.com/shop/the Knotted Bag. I don't think I've seen her tags before. They're very cute.
It's very pretty.
And then last but not least, we have some awesome yarn. I'm going to show this to y'all so I don't keep it for me. It is candy corn. I ate candy corn earlier. It was delicious because someone sent it in something that I got. It is Revelations of a Delusional Sock Knitter, or of a delusional knitter. Yeah. I'm just adding words. It is the candy corn colorway. It is 75% wool, 25% nylon. It's a self-striping sock yarn, and it is 400 yards. So very, very cool. She has an Etsy shop as well, and you can find her there. So Revelations of a Delusional Knitter. And we also have, I said last but not least, but I'm a total liar. Jessica M. Anderson. Jessica M. Anderson, who's an awesome designer, has a new pattern called the Great Pumpkin Fairy. I did my nails today and they're already chipping off. It's driving me crazy. And her Ravelry name is Monkey Butt Babies, actually, which I think is hilarious.
That's hilarious.
But she did the Great Pumpkin Fairy, and it's so cute. So she's giving away 2 copies of that pattern as well. It's so adorable.
Super sweet.
So maybe for the little one in your life, but not Alice and Julia, because they have enough stuff that their Auntie Lala is already knitting for them.
All they have to do is ask you really nicely.
Yeah. Please, Auntie Lala, please.
I went through my stash as well and got some things for you guys. The first is by my friend Megan. She is a Cyborgs Craft Room. This is her Squishalate base, which is 100% superwash merino, and it's the Nice Melons colorway. So it's a nice bright orange with a darker orange yellow and sort of a greeny brown. Then I chose Dancing Dog Dye Works in the Waltz Worsted in the Maisie and Bella colorway. And this is a really popular color. It's based on Diane of Knittable's, her 2 bulldogs, Maisie and Bella.
That'd be a cute stuffy.
It would.
Or
it would be a
something
really
else.
cute stuffy. I've seen a lot of little dolls or stuffies made out of these, and they really are cute. Dancing Dog does a great job with her Waltz Worsted.
She does.
And then Madeline Tosh Pashmina Worsted. And so this is a wool silk cashmere blend.
I love that yarn. I did, I had out of that last year and gave it to Lynn.
This is the yarn I used for my calligraphy cardigan. And I had a whole leftover skein. So it's not been frogged or anything. It's still in the cake. And it's the Thunderstorm colorway. And it's really soft and lovely. So it would make a wonderful cowl or hat.
It's a silk cashmere wool blend, right?
Silk wool cashmere, yes. So it's really, really nice. So I added those 3 things to the pile. So we have like a little over 700 entries right now. So
those, for those 700 entries, you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 prizes.
Yeah.
One per 100. You have good odds of winning.
Yeah.
But you could enter as many times as you want. So that might make the odds forever in your favor.
You could make a dozen teetoters, and then
you could. All in Halloween colors. That'd be cool. Or to give as Halloween giveaways to parents who come
that'd be fun.
To your doorway. That'd be super cute. We've already talked a little bit about Spinzilla. We just wanted to say again, it was so much fun, and we will be having a team again next year, and it will be the same week. I went to go see Clara Parks.
You did.
I
got
know.
a Claramel, didn't you?
I did get a Claramel. It was so cool. So, while Leslie was hanging out at Rhinebeck, I drove 3.5 hours to go see Clara Parks each way. And it was
Thursday night, and she had to go back to school the next day.
Yes, and I didn't get until after midnight, and it was worth every freaking second because she was amazing. I will go see her anytime she comes within a 4-hour drive to my area, because Clara Parks is best known for writing 3 really awesome, incredible books that if you don't have in your library, I highly recommend because they are useful to any knitter, regardless of your skill level. The Knitter's Book of Yarn and the Knitter's Book of Wool have some great patterns, but they also have so much knowledge about fiber and how yarn is composed and how yarn is created. And she went into that in her book talk as well. So she comes out and she's just got a ball of yarn, and she is a true storyteller, and she tells the story of how not only this yarn came into existence, but the breed came into existence. And it was just very cool. And she read some from the book, which this is her new book of novels, and it's a novel, but it's a collection of short stories, and it's really, really funny, and it takes real life situations that she had and brings yarn into it. So she's best known for Knitter's Book of Yarn, Knitter's Book of Wool, Knitter's Book of Socks, and she jokingly said this would be the Knitter's Book of Clara. So
I would be happy with, yeah. Laura got me one.
Very, very cool. So I got Leslie one. And I got me one, and I got Mama Linneman, a bunch of other people one. Like, I put a picture on Instagram, and it's me with all these books. That's not the stack for people to grab from. That's actually all the books that I bought. And I bought y'all one. And it's autographed by Clara. She is super sweet. Just really a lovely, lovely personality, and worth every second of that 7-hour drive. And we also got to have dinner with Brittany of Just One More Row podcast, which was super fun. And my friend Eloise Single Daisy went with me, so I didn't have to drive it all alone. But we're going to have a contest for this. So all you have to do is tell us on a Ravelry thread your favorite book of all time. It can be a knitting book, it can be a spinning book, it can be any kind of book. It can be how to make beer, it can be how to play golf, it can be your favorite kids book or your favorite novel or your favorite nonfiction book. Whatever floats your boat, you can tell us. And we'll have a thread on Ravelry for that, and we'll do 1 entry per person. This contest will close next Sunday.
Yes.
Which will be the 2nd?
Or the 3rd of November.
It is the 3rd. You are correct, my friend.
I know that because Ender's Game is coming out on Friday, and that's the 1st. So.
No. I have no interest in that whatsoever. And I like sci-fi and fantasy, but I cannot get into Ender's Game. Whatever. So we will have a copy, and I anticipate the hate mail right now. We'll have a copy for this to give away, and it's autographed, and I'm just so excited. So
why do you anticipate hate mail?
Because I said I don't like Ender's Game.
Oh, okay. You're allowed to not like things.
I know.
But don't be a dick about it.
Now you're going to get hate mail.
Yep.
And,
Leslie at TheKnitGirlls.com.
I won't respond to your hate mail because I'm too busy. Leslie went to Rhinebeck, so she's going to talk about that while I was at the Clara Parks book signing. Who's a lovely person.
I went with some friends and stayed in a cabin about the size of a matchbook. It was wee tiny, but it was fine. I mean, we all had a good time. There was a campfire. There's a bunch of cabins sort of clustered together, and there was a campfire in the middle. And Friday night before Rhinebeck, the market opened, Chris and James of Into the World brought us cookies. Apparently they live around the corner.
What kind of cookies were they?
They were chocolate chip, and they were
that's my
homemade.
favorite kind.
Yeah, they made them themselves. It was so cool.
They're so cool.
They were really cool people, and it was a lot of fun, and it was beautiful weather. It was actually cool enough to wear a sweater most of the time, except sort of in the middle of the day. It got really hot. Well, it got too hot to wear a sweater comfortably. Maybe low 60s for me to wear a sweater comfortably. Yeah. It didn't stop a lot of people. And I'm not.
For me, it would have been, I'm freezing.
Yeah. Well, it got really windy in the afternoons, so, like, by noon I had ditched my sweater in the car, but by 3 o'clock I wished I'd had it back.
Yeah.
So, they said that there were 47,000 people there on Saturday.
That's a crazy amount of people, dude.
Which was twice as many people as there were there last year.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
There was a lot of people there on Saturday. Sunday was
a lot of people.
Perfect. It was.
I like people, but that's a lot of people.
Sunday is so much quieter and more chill, and I got to see leaping llamas and spend time with, a lot of people. I got to meet lots of people, and that was awesome. And I'm not going to mention any of them because if I do, I'll forget someone, and that is not my intention to ever be mean to anybody by forgetting them. So. I'm not going to show everything I got because that's just silly. Plus, a lot of what I got, I bought for other people. I was shopping for other people. And some of them are gifts and all that. So I'm not going to show them. But I will show you one of my favorite things I got, which is from Fox Hill Farm.
So you had gone and looked at fleeces. You and Amy were both looking at fleeces.
Yes, we were considering splitting one. But I didn't find anything that just really was calling to me. They had a lot of Romney. They had a lot of alpaca. They had a fair amount of cormo mixes.
Uh-huh.
And then they didn't have really any BFL. They had some merino, but like by the time I got there midday Saturday, most of what I would have considered buying was gone.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It wasn't a must get for me. So I was walking by this booth on Saturday or Sunday on the way out actually, and this lady had cormo, and it's really, really beautiful. So let me just pick a random bunch of it out here, and it's the
nice locks.
Yeah, they're really, really well. And they're actually really clean. I mean, there's a little bit of dirt and veggie matter, but
I bet you it was coated.
They're really clean.
Did she say it was coated?
I didn't ask. I
Okay.
didn't think to ask. But if you look at the crimp on this
Oh,
sucker,
I love the crimp.
it's so beautiful.
It's very pretty.
So I thought a pound, it was less than $40. I thought that'd be a good way to start to see if I
definitely.
hate processing or if I just prefer not to. But the
And
locks,
you could do something with a pound. You could do something with a color work yoke.
Yeah,
that
or
would be pretty
vest.
for one of the Rhinebeck sweaters, the one that Mary Heather's wearing. That'd be super cute.
Yeah, and so they're like maybe 3 inches, a little bit longer, and
Nice.
the crimp is just beautiful on them. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna just try doing a little bit, some light washing, and then I've got hand cards. Fluff them out and spin a
You
little
have a
bit.
drum carder too.
I do. It may be China's finest. It was, and by that I don't mean anything derogatory. I just mean one of the least expensive ones I could find on the market, and it's made by Brother. I've never actually even used it, so I don't know how well it works.
You got it right before you moved.
I did, which was probably not. It was like, I wouldn't say depression, but like emotional upheaval purchase. Like, my life is in turmoil, I should buy a drum carder. Bad idea. But anyhow, yeah, I had a really good time at Rhinebeck. I'll show you guys some more things as the weeks go on, maybe one thing a week. But I also wanted to say thank you for everybody being so nice about our random, just asking questions episode. It was a lot of fun. I think
That was
maybe
really sweet.
maybe once every few months we'll do one like that where we just Skype in the middle of the week and just answer questions.
Yeah.
As we can.
It was necessary because after saying the same things 4 times over and over and over again, it was not very funny
fun.
Or
Right.
it was very robot-y.
And Laura and I both agreed that when it stopped being fun, we would stop doing it. And it stopped being fun saying the same things over and over. So we needed a little bit of a break. So we appreciate you guys being kind and patient.
Definitely.
And I think we've got the tech problems worked out for now. But I'm sure they'll crop up again at some point, I have no doubt. But I think that's it. Do you have anything else?
I have nothing else to add.
Our show
Not
notes
at
are
all.
so long. Our show notes are
I have
3
wool
pages.
combs that make me look like Freddy Cougar.
I'm
I do
so
have
excited
those.
to see you use these. So they're for a class you're taking.
They are.
This coming weekend, right? Or the next one?
It's in November. Yep.
Is it the first weekend in November?
Mm-hmm.
So it's this coming weekend.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
So you'll have to show us once you get back.
Yeah, I'm
what you did
taking
with it.
a class with Patsy Z down in Jackson. So.
And our friend Nicole. Of Blue Goose Farms.
Yep.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be lots of fun. And it's spinning woolen and worsted and then spinning silk. There's only 8 people in one class and 11 people in the other. So it'll be very small, lots of one-on-one.
Yeah,
It'll be good.
which is great. It's very good for actually retaining the information. That
Yeah,
way.
definitely. So I have a list of 800 things that I need to find and pack.
Well, we're at over an hour
Yeah.
and almost 15 minutes, so we're going to let you guys go. And we hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll draw prizes for our Halloween craft-along next.
Yep, and for the Yarn Whisperer book. So that'll be lots of fun.
So y'all have a good one.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.